miss it sometimes. This morning, my message, I hope, follows the line. I told my wife, I've told others, when I preach, I don't want to be a shotgun going off. I don't want to be a path that has so many Y's and V's and traces that you lose track of where you're going. I like to kind of follow a path, but today my path may not be as clear as it normally is. You know, our lives are being bombarded every day with fearful images and reports from every direction. It's not just the news, it's in the commercials, on the television or on the radio. It's on the signs up and down the road you drive. There's this warning about that and this warning about that. News stories are on the increase of shootings all across our nations. Child abductions taking place. Unexplained violence that we can't understand why. Images of war and disasters. We've seen what's going on in Afghanistan, the horrible things there. When the weather report comes on, it seems like the more dramatic they can make it, the more fearful that they can make it, the better it is for them. Exaggerated, and I mean that exaggerated healthcare concerns that we're going through. We know about COVID right now. My daughter-in-law and my son are about to have a baby in a month, and about every month over the last 4 months they've been sending out this text. Don't forget to get your TBD shot for whooping cough. Now I've got 5 kids. Never once did I ever hear a doctor tell me I needed to make sure and get a whooping cough shot. Number one, I said I didn't know there was a whooping cough shot. Well, it's actually tetanus, pertussis, which is whooping cough, and diphtheria are all wrapped up into one shot. And you get them every so often. But the doctors, I think, got them scared to death about the baby getting whooping cough. How many have seen somebody with whooping cough in the last 10 years? I mean, that's it. I got one back there. It's got his hand up. One case. I mean, but yet we're bombarded with this stuff that just puts fear in your heart. The news media, real life stories on television. You watch some real life story. I used to like to watch every once in a while Gold Rush. I don't know if you guys ever watched Gold Rush. Like to watch Gold Rush. But it never fails. I mean, the slightest little thing they build up to like it's going to be a catastrophe, and then they go to commercial. And you come back on the edge of your seat, and everything's fine. But they gotta make it like it's life-threatening, and that's it. The whole thing around us in our world today seems to be saying, "Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid." Am I right? Is that not what we see? Can I tell you that Satan is a liar? That's right. Satan is a deceiver. He is out to steal, to kill, and destroy, Jesus said. He will steal your joy. He'll steal your joy. He'll steal your contentment any way that he can. And fear is one of his most powerful tools. Fear destroys joy. It's hard to be joyful when you're scared all the time. It's hard to find peace when you're afraid. It's hard to find contentment when you feel like you're being threatened from every side. Many of the fears that we have today arise from the doubt of being able to reach goals that we have in our life, or arise from losing what we've been pursuing in life. Maybe we've been trying you get to my age and you start thinking about retirement, and you're trying to get there, and you're afraid that all your investments are going to come crashing down, or something's going to happen, or maybe your goal is whatever it is, whatever it is you're pursuing in life. Maybe, I know my oldest daughter, she would love to get married. She's 35 years old. She just loved to get married, and then she called us not too long ago, and she may watch this, I don't want to make a big deal about it. She was just really upset because she hadn't gotten married yet, because that's her goal of her life. She wants to be married. She wants to have children, and the fear began to just grip her heart and grip her life. It's a very real thing. For men, sometimes it's all about respect and recognition. Ladies, you may not understand this completely, but I guarantee you every man here understands that drive to be respected and to admired in some way, to have recognition. Some men, that's their greatest pursuit, and afraid that they're not going to reach her. Maybe it's freedom, whatever it may be. But sometimes fear comes in and we think we're not going to reach it. Fear many times is a result, listen to me, church. Fear many times is a result of not believing that God can or that God will supply that thing you're pursuing. Let me say that again because I don't want you to miss this. Fear often is a result of not believing that God can or that God will allow you to reach that thing that you're pursuing, that He'll not make a way, that He'll not provide for you to reach that thing you're pursuing. That you're not going to be able to retire someday. You're going to have to work until you fall over dead. That you'll never have children. That you'll never be married. That no one will ever respect you, whatever it may be. So how do we combat fear? Wherever that fear is coming from. How do we combat it? Fear is an indicator. It's a result of what we believe. What I'm saying is we begin to believe the lie of the enemy rather than the truth of God's Word. We fear economic disaster because we believe we're about to lose everything. We believe we're going to lose everything, so we fear economic disaster. We fear strangers. Why? Because someone's convinced us that every stranger out there is out to get us. Come on. Why don't you pick up hitchhikers when you're driving down the road? Because you begin to believe the stories, and that every hitchhiker has got a gun in his pocket, he's got a ball bat stuffed down his pants, and he's just waiting to beat your brains in. I've picked up a few hitchhikers in my life and never been threatened once. I'm not telling you to pick up hitchhikers. I'm just telling you, fear comes on because what we believe begins to rule in our life. Fear of things. We fear our children or our grandchildren. We have a fear of them being out of our sight. We fear of our grandchildren or our children being out of our sight. Why? Because we believe the lie that there's somebody just waiting to abduct them. Just waiting for somebody to abduct them. Can I tell you that the statistics show that in excess of 95% of child abductions, probably most of us would not consider abductions because they're really an estranged parent who's went and gotten that child without permission. In other words, the husband and wife divorced, the husband or the wife has custody, and one or the other went and got the child without the other one's permission and drove off without him, and they called the police on him, and it's called a child abduction. That's where it's more than 95% of child abductions are from. I've looked at the statistics. But you know what? The news media doesn't tell us that. They just flash out child abduction. And we begin to believe this lie that somebody's just waiting around the corner. And I'm not telling you that we shouldn't be careful with our children. Don't misunderstand me. But we live in that fear. I can tell you, when Mikey was young, we were on vacation. We were on our way home. We stopped in Tulsa, Oklahoma at a Waffle House. One of my favorite places to eat. It's greasy, it's dirty, it's nasty, and I love it. Okay? I love Waffle Houses. And we were there, and it was right next to a truck stop. And I don't remember how old he was. He was 6 or 7, maybe. I don't know if he was even that old. Maybe not even in school yet. But anyway, he kept laying over in the seat. We weren't done eating, and he was wanting to see me. He said, "Can I go